Number 9. Jacqueline Addis. Several years ago, a Maricopa County, Arizona woman named Jacqueline Addis signed up on a dating website for people seeking wealthy partners. She went on a date with a man who said he wasn't interested in seeing her again and proceeded to stalk him relentlessly, sending him more than 159,000 text messages over the following 10 months. When Addis appeared on the man's property one day in 2017, officers escorted her away. But instead of taking this as a sign to back off, she took her behavior up 10 notches. Her non-stop text messages became threatening and gruesome, and included her expressed desires to wear the man's flesh, devour his organs, and make sushi out of his kidneys and chopsticks from his hand bones. While her victim was out of the country in 2018, Addis broke into his house. He spotted her on his home surveillance footage and called the police, who discovered the woman inside, taking a bath. They also found a butcher knife in the front seat of her car. After skipping multiple court dates, Addis was held at the Maricopa County Jail. She said that she believed the jury would find her innocent and want her victim to marry her, and she even turned down a plea deal that would have brought the case to a much quicker end. It was clear based on the woman's behavior during interviews that she wasn't mentally healthy. She made increasingly bizarre claims, including that Walt Disney had abducted her when she was younger, and that she was a member of the Illuminati. Addis was ultimately deemed incompetent to stand trial, and the charges against her were dropped. But she insisted on having a jury hear her case out, in hopes that they would declare her innocent. That never happened, and several court-appointed psychiatrists determined that the woman's mental health was non-restorable. She was taken to a psychiatric facility for a short stay, with plans for her parents to pick her up and move her back to Florida, where they could help take care of her. Number 8. Zara Manjikian and Vahagn Durian. When 19-year-old Mike Yepremeyan got off work early one night in 2009, he texted his girlfriend Danielle Wigurjan and asked her what she was up to. She told him that she was on her way to a hookah lounge in North Hollywood, California, with her friend Kat Vardanian, whom Mike disliked. In his response, he called Kat the B word. Kat saw the text and immediately became angry. She called her brother Hovik Durian and asked him to do something about the insult. Hovik called his cousin, Vahagn Durian, who then called Mike and made plans to meet up and talk in a Sears parking lot to resolve the dispute. Mike showed up with 5 friends who were prepared to fight on his behalf if things got ugly. Durian came to the meeting with his friend, Zara Manjikian. Things got off to a peaceful start, but soon evolved into violence and yelling. At some point, someone fired a gun and shot Mike in the head. He died from his injuries. The case seemed pretty straightforward at first, and the jury convicted Durian and Zara of murder in 2012. But 2 witnesses who had testified at trial later recanted their statements and said that the shooting was an accident. They now claimed that Mike had lifted his shirt to show that he had a gun, and that the weapon was fired on accident during a physical struggle between the men. But a judge didn't buy the witnesses' changed stories and upheld Zara's sentence of 50 years to life and Durian's sentence of 25 years to life. Number 7. Gregory Gare. After meeting Gregory Gare online and traveling to meet him in Newport, Wales, a woman who had initially thought they might have chemistry realized that she wasn't interested in a relationship with him. She returned home as soon as possible and blocked him on social media in hopes that they could go on with their separate lives. Over the next several weeks, Gare found a way to contact the woman despite being blocked and sent her 74 pages worth of angry and upset text messages, threatening to come to her home, set it on fire, kidnap her dog, and do other terrifying things unless she unblocked him. When the victim threatened to call the police, it only seemed to intensify the situation. Gare reminded her to sleep with one eye open. Authorities finally caught up to him in 2021, and it was revealed that he had numerous past convictions for harassment, threats, and assault. Gare's attorney argued in court that his client was a model prisoner who was at an emotional low and was abusing alcohol when he embarked on his latest disturbing campaign of harassment. A judge sentenced him to 9 months in prison and granted the victim a permanent restraining order. Number 6. Michelle Carter. Michelle Carter and Conrad Roy were both teenagers when they met in 2012. They grew extremely close over the next 2 years, texting basically non-stop. By the time they met, Carter had experienced her own struggles with mental health, including depression and an eating disorder. Roy also had issues and often talked to Carter about his depression. For a while, Carter tried talking Roy out of hurting himself and encouraged him to get help whenever he brought it up. But in 2014, she started encouraging him to follow through with his plans. Finally, one day, he parked his truck in a CVS parking lot in Massachusetts and ran a water pump with the windows down, with plans to take his own life via carbon monoxide poisoning. At one point, Roy began to feel faint, so he stepped out of the truck and told his girlfriend that he didn't think he could follow through with the plan. She urged him to get back in the vehicle, and he did, with fatal results. In the immediate aftermath of Roy's death, Conrad offered her support to his family and acted like a grieving girlfriend. She even hosted a charity softball game to raise money for suicide awareness. But investigators soon discovered that she had urged her boyfriend to kill himself, and they charged her with manslaughter in connection with his death. It was an unprecedented case that paved the way for the future rulings about someone's level of culpability when it comes to their behavior over text, and whether they can be held criminally responsible for encouraging someone to hurt themselves. Carter served just over 3 months of a 15-month jail sentence, followed by 5 years of probation, which she is still serving. She's kept largely out of the public eye since the case came to a close, and it's unclear what her life plans are now that she's regained her freedom. Number 5. Jillian Ross. In November 2021, a man in West Monroe, Louisiana contacted the police for help after he found himself in hot water with his girlfriend after she discovered him texting other women. 22-year-old Jillian Janique Ross had allegedly gone through her boyfriend's phone and was infuriated when she found the incriminating conversations. The victim later claimed that she punched him in the face, cut the wires in the trunk of his car, and tried to deflate the tires before making a phone call and asking the person on the other line to bring the strap. A male friend arrived and approached the man's car with Ross, who now had a gun in her pocket, while the victim was trying to leave. He reportedly asked Ross if she was going to shoot him and attempted to drive away when the male friend shot 3 bullets in his direction. Ross admitted to the police that she had summoned the victim to her home, vandalized his car, and had a gun on her during the confrontation. But she claimed that she didn't realize her friend was going to shoot at her boyfriend. She was charged with domestic abuse, criminal property damage, and aggravating assault with a firearm. Number 4. Jason Bradley. One day in late 2021, Jason Bradley entered a bank in Lombard, Illinois, with fireworks taped to his waist. He wasn't wearing anything to hide his face other than a COVID mask, and handed the teller a note stating that he needed all the money or everyone in the bank was going to die. The teller hit the silent alarm button, which automatically dispensed $800 to try getting the robber to leave with. Bradley took the cash and took off in his vehicle. Police were staked out around the man's house less than an hour later, waiting for his return. In the meantime, they contacted his wife and asked her to search the couple's home for any evidence of past robberies. She soon revealed to detectives that her husband had called her and admitted to the crime. He also sent her a text message containing photos of the ill-gotten cash and expressing his surprise that nobody was looking for him yet. Once Bradley arrived home, police searched his house and found more evidence tying him to the robbery, including a pad of paper matching the stationery that was used for the note demanding money, fireworks packaging, and duct tape. But they say that the text messages to his wife describing what he had done are the strongest evidence against him in the case so far. He currently faces a robbery charge in connection with the sloppy heist. Number 3. Damon White. After divorcing from his wife in 2019, Damon White found it hard to move on from the failed marriage. The Dallas resident was ordered to wear an ankle bracelet monitor when he continued to harass his ex-wife through text message and threatened to kill her in a disturbingly graphic fashion. He cut the ankle bracelet off and fled from where he was living, and police soon found his vehicle in the woman's town. They relocated her and her family to safety. When authorities caught up to White, he had changed his appearance by cutting his hair and dyeing his beard. They took him into custody on a new stalking charge and found disturbing evidence on his phone, including harassing text messages and internet searches, seeking information about how to spy on another person's phone and how to do a reverse license plate search. After years of putting his wife through hell and making her feel in danger 24/7, White was sentenced to 20 years in prison, and his ex can now rest easy knowing that he's behind bars. Number 2. Amber Odom McDaniel. Professional MMA fighter Bubba McDaniel's world came to a screeching halt in late 2018 when he learned that his 2-year-old son, Jason Wilder McDaniel, had been found murdered at his home in Texas. At the time, the child's mother, Amber Odom McDaniel, was on a break from her relationship with Wilder's father. She was spending time with a man named James Staley III, who had repeatedly openly expressed his dislike for the little boy and even admitted to hurting him. Staley was charged with murder amid an ongoing investigation to fully piece together the series of events that led to the toddler's death. In the meantime, Bubba McDaniel stood by Amber, claiming that she had been targeted by a master manipulator and was unaware of his sinister plans. The couple even got married as the controversial case continued to unfold. But law enforcement apparently disagrees with McDaniel's belief that his wife is innocent, and in July of last year, authorities charged Amber with child endangerment and tampering with evidence. The charges came after investigators managed to unlock Staley's phone and found encrypted text messages that Amber had deleted. In the disturbing conversations, Staley made his disdain for Wilder abundantly clear and expressed numerous times that he had ill intentions for the boy. Yet, Amber continued to bring him around her son and even entrusted him to babysit Wilder. Even after these new findings came to light, Bubba McDaniel has continued to stand by his wife, claiming that he doesn't think she understood whether Staley was serious about the threats he was making against their child. On the other hand, authorities believe that Amber failed to react properly to Staley's behavior as a mother who knew her child was in danger. If convicted, she faces up to 20 years behind bars. Number 1. Derek Knowles. In 2012, a woman living in Salford, England received a 5-year restraining order against a truck driver she had dated named Derek Knowles, who refused to let go of the relationship after they broke up. By then, she had already endured months of his incessant texting and calling. Knowles ignored the restraining order, which banned him from making third-party contact, and started text messaging local radio DJs with song requests, claiming to be a friend of the former couple who was wondering when they were finally going to get married. He also sent radio requests asking the woman to meet him for coffee, and in third person, pretending to be someone else and saying that he was sorry to hear about the couple's breakup. In one message to radio presenter Lynn Parsons, he referred to himself as Tim and said, "Hi Lynn, could you say hi to the beautiful victim's name? We will see you later for coffee." A co-worker who knew about the woman's problematic ex-boyfriend alerted her to Knowles' unwelcome announcements, prompting the victim to call the radio station and then go to the police. An investigation yielded evidence of the stalker placing 10 text message requests to radio DJs directed at his victim. When Knowles found himself back in court over his misconduct, he admitted breaching the restraining order, but claimed he was in a new relationship and had no desire to contact the woman. But the evidence spoke otherwise. A judge sentenced him to 6 months prison, but suspended the sentence for 2 years and ordered the offender to perform 100 hours of unpaid work. Thanks for watching. Would you rather accidentally send your boss a text message you meant to send to a friend complaining about your job, or slip up and accidentally reveal to a friend that you had skipped an important event of theirs to stay at home and watch TV? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. See you soon. Bye.